Hello there, happy Monday. Yeah, I'm a rabbit. See, isn't that funny? So let me shut this thing off. But I wanted to talk today about rabbit holes. One of my favorite subjects lately, because I spend so much time in them. My apologies for not getting dolled up for you today. Actually, I'm not that sorry, but getting phone calls right at the moment that I'm trying to do a live, and it's my husband's, who's probably going to freak out that I'm not answering. But what are you gonna do, right? So if you don't already know me, my name is Jennifer Edwards. I'm coming to you live from Sayreville, New Jersey. I am a wife and a work from anywhere mom of 3 children, 3 boys, who are my biggest blessings and my biggest challenges every day. I am obsessed with all things health and wellness these days, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. And but can you do me a favor? I don't know if my signal here keeps going in and out, so if you are catching me live, can you just drop me some hearts or some likes to let me know that you can see and or hear me all right? Thank you so much. So it is finally spring here, which makes me very happy. We skipped right from winter to summer over this past week, and now we're back to spring. So it's beautiful. It is like short sleeve and pants weather, perfect. Sweatshirts at night, fire pits, all that kind of stuff, perfect. So anyway, if you are catching the replay, can you just drop me in the comments that you're catching the replay? Let me know where you're tuning in from and what the weather is like by you. Okay, cool, thanks. So I wanted to talk today about rabbit holes and, obsession with learning new things. Anyone else out there have a healthy or maybe unhealthy obsession with constantly learning and growing? Mine has kind of switched over time from, building a business and, like the law of attraction I was obsessed with for a little while. And now it's become like all things health and wellness that I'm just like obsessed with. And it's kind of crazy because, it means falling down a lot of rabbit holes. Thanks, Laura. I'm glad. You too. I don't feel alone in this. I know I'm not the only one. And Barbie, I know you are. I know you're always learning. It's right. Law of attraction is like a wonderful, wonderful thing. I was obsessed like a year ago, probably. I read all the books. If I could actually follow it, that would be another whole big thing, but whatever. We're working on that. Baby steps. So anyway, I wanted to explain a little bit what rabbit holes are, right? Because people use that expression all the time, like don't fall in the rabbit hole. Obviously the term originated from the original Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, where she saw a rabbit in the garden, quite literally fell down into a rabbit hole chasing him, and basically, what falling down into the rabbit hole means is, stumbling into a bizarre, disorienting, alternate reality. Okay, so you find something that you're chasing that looks really appealing or promising, and then you fall into this whole other world that you did not know existed. And yes, personal development is super important. When I first started in direct sales and MLM, the company that I was with really encouraged a lot of personal development. They actually encouraged 10 pages of a good book that's going to teach you something every night. And so that's kind of what got me started on this whole personal development, growth, learning path. And that was nearly 5 years ago, but that's really what got me started. And it's amazing to me, the world that has opened up as a result of that. Can you relate? Let me know. It's like once I started learning about business and team building and leadership and all that other stuff, it just opened a whole new world for me. As I mentioned, my path has kind of shifted a bit. I'm still in business, but my path has shifted a lot to learning more about health and wellness kind of stuff. It really started with my kids and trying to heal my children and, basically self-diagnose, become my own WebMD. But that's kind of where it started. Oh yes, digestive tract. Like, we are going there. We are going there in this live. So just hang on and stay tuned. So with that said, okay, you probably might want to turn this off if you're a little squeamish. You might want to turn this off if you don't want to fall into a rabbit hole of your own and learn more about health and wellness that your doctor won't tell you about, because I'm about to go there. Okay. So yeah, you guys, if you want to hang on, that's cool. But if you're like me, you may start researching things you never even knew about and never really wanted to know about. So I'm in an alternate universe right now, and it's kind of crazy. So my whole world of this kind of rabbit hole, right, the health and wellness one, started when I started researching vaccines for my kids. About 2 years ago, my youngest developed an egg allergy immediately after the flu shot. He never had an issue with eggs, whatever. Okay, so then they wanted me to give him a second dose in the allergist's office, and I refused. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hold off on everything for a little bit, and I'm going to research this stuff. So that's where it all started. So I became a quote-unquote crunchy mom, which is interesting because a lot of crunchy moms still vaccinate and whatever. It's all good. Whatever you choose to do is all good. But becoming a crunchy mom meant that I was looking at what went into my kids' bodies and what went on my kids' bodies and the household products that we started to use and all of that other stuff. So last year, I fell into the world of clean living products, right? So eliminating harsh chemicals, eliminating toxins from what we put in and on our bodies. And then I started researching biomedical approaches to treating my kids. My boys, my two older boys, have ADHD and high-functioning autism and oppositional defiant disorder. So I was looking into natural treatments for them because we never want to do meds. I mean, that's just our opinion. We never want to do meds until it's a last resort. It was not something that was even an option for us until we went and explored a lot of different avenues. The specific rabbit hole I fell in last year was CBD oil. Okay, so that's where it all started. And so a year ago, no one was really talking about CBD oil, but I had heard some things about how it had helped behavior and how it had helped with anxiety for kids, and a lot of children who are on the autism spectrum started using it and had some good results with it, some language development, things like that. So a friend of mine added me to an amazing group all about like biomedical healing of children on the spectrum, etc. And I learned so much more about it that way. But we did ultimately give CBD oil a try, and it wasn't really effective for my boys. At least, we only gave it 3 weeks. They seemed to have a lot of detox, and the behaviors got worse. And of course, I learned a lot in this group. I learned a lot. Sometimes kids who have behavioral issues or like aggression issues need also a little bit of the THC, which is obviously not in CBD oil and not something that you can easily get. So it was something that we kind of tossed to the side. But it really helped me, and it really helped my anxiety, and I liked it. But it is an expensive alternative, okay? How many of you guys have used CBD oil or are using CBD oil? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if it's helping you. I know that it's helped several people with pain. I know it helped me. It still helps me actually take the edge off migraines. So it's great stuff. It's just not necessarily great for every single thing, right? So in that group that I was telling you about that my friend added me to, I started learning a whole lot about detox. And my posts on this stuff probably started over the summer, where I started sharing about detox, and we started detox baths with my kids because during that CBD oil thing, right? So they were going through a lot, especially my middle child, who seems to be my toughest case to crack. He was going through a lot of detox issues, and I know that because he just was a amped up version of himself. So like the impulsivity and the moodiness and everything just totally amplified on the CBD oil. Okay. And I gave it a few weeks, like I said, and I thought that it was going to get better. And, you know, we cut down the dosage. Great. Now they're going to mow the lawn right now. Really? Okay. So anyway, in there, I started learning about detox baths, started giving my kids a lot of the detox baths, learned a little bit about chelation for removal of metals from the body, but I didn't really fall into that rabbit hole. I just kind of thought that it was overly complicated and something that I couldn't do for my kids because it meant really being on top of this stuff for you know, like multiple times a day and giving supplements and things like that. So I didn't really look too much into it. I was kind of turned off by that right off the bat. And then shortly thereafter, I started learning about pandas and pans. And pandas, if you haven't already seen all of my posts about this and my videos, PANDA stands for Pediatric Autoimmune Neuropsychiatric Disorder as the result of strep. I immediately thought, wow, you know, this sounds like my middle child. He has all of the symptoms, and you know, you can learn more about that by watching my other lives that I've already done on this. You know, and there's more information coming, by the way, because we have a follow-up appointment with their specialist on Friday. But anyway, it turns out both of my big boys have a PANDAS and PANS, which is the same thing, except it's not triggered by strep. So they have triggers from strep and also pneumococcal and also Coxsackie virus. Also, so any of those will trigger the behavioral issues in my boys. So I fell into this whole PANDAS, PANS world. You know, I think I'm going to have to go inside because it's like going to be loud. Or maybe I'll go on the other side of my house. Hang on. All right. Whoops. You guys are coming with me. Oh, now it's shut off. Go figure. Okay. Whatever. We're going to go with this. So I fell into that whole PANDAS world, right? And I spent a lot of time learning about it, denying it, only to become convinced that it was our thing. And, you know, fast forward, like I said, both of my boys have this diagnosis. I didn't think that it was the case for them because they've never had tics, right? Like physical tics. Right? They never had that kind of issue, so I didn't think that it was applied to them, and yet it turns out that you don't need to have all of the symptoms to have the diagnosis. It takes blood work, it takes a lot of other tests, and a lot of the behavioral stuff is what determines whether they have it. So I spent a lot of time in those related Facebook groups, learned a lot about a lot, and I revisited the MTHFR mutations, which I started learning about when I had Nolan because he had tongue and lip ties, and I read that it was linked, and then I was like almost falling into that rabbit hole at the time, but didn't have the time with a newborn to really look into it. So, but it was something in the back of my mind that I always wanted to come back to. I did go back to that. It is something that, you know, I'm still learning about. And then I stumbled upon the link between autism, violent behavior, and parasitic infections. Okay, so this is where we get crazy. This is where we get really crazy. Again, you don't want to fall down rabbit holes. Don't listen to me. Okay, so most people think that parasites and parasitic diseases occur only in like poor and developing countries, and yet the truth is that as much as 90% of our population actually has at least one parasite in their intestines or intestinal parasites. There you go. Even adults, even kids, you know, millions of Americans have them and don't even know it. And so, you know, I started looking at a lot of these weird Facebook groups where they post nasty pictures of things. And, you know, it's like it really became an obsession for me. And I was like, you know, we're going to give this a try. And so we did a parasite cleanse for 6 days in March. And then oh wow, everybody was in a foul mood during that. And then once it was done, everything was better for a little while. And anyway, it's been a little nuts, right? It's been a little nuts, and things that I never really thought about. So I thought that this was not ever something that we would ever have to worry about. And there was actually a time where children and adults, I guess, were dewormed twice per year in the United States, and that stopped, I believe it was in the 50s, which is crazy. And so people just assume that since, we have access to soap and running water and like plumbing, that there's no such thing as parasites. And it's not true, because, how do you get everybody in the world to wash their hands? Yeah. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I was reading some really nasty things about how they're transmitted, and, it's like, just watch your shopping carts and watch all that, anything that people touch. Yeah, it's gross. All right, whatever. We won't scare you too much. But if you want to know more about this, we're going to talk about this more in another live. So I do want to do more lives on this subject. But suffice it to say that I've been obsessed and learned so much. And then the parasite topic, plus my children's issues with yeast and leaky gut, have led me to research, all things that are related to like probiotics and gut health and candida and whatever. So, but ultimately it led me to learning about heavy metal toxicity. And so this is my current rabbit hole that I've been in for a few weeks now. Basically learning about mercury, lead, cadmium, aluminum, barium, like all of these heavy metals that are in our body, and they're basically stuck. Okay, there's no real easy way to get them out. That's kind of where chelation comes in, but chelation can be a little harmful, and it can deplete a lot of nutrients from your body and things like that. So I've been researching what you can do about it. Obviously, like once these metals are gone, the body really can remove a lot of the other things that we have in our body, like I was saying, like the parasites and the candida and all that other stuff. Hey, Michelle, yes, I'm talking about this, but I wasn't talking about this whole time. I just got to this whole heavy metal thing. So heavy metal toxicity has a lot of the same symptoms as a lot of autoimmune diseases, including like fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, Lyme disease, irritable bowel disease, Hashimoto's, all of this stuff, right? So heavy metal toxicity, it builds up in your body. You have all of these symptoms, and you go to the doctor and they give you drugs to deal with the symptoms, and basically they could be bad diagnoses. Really, it could just be heavy metals building up in your body, and you don't even know it. So we're currently doing a heavy metal detox. We're actually doing something that's really easy. It's just a spray, and it tastes like water. So all of my boys are actually eager to get it, which is crazy. And the micronutrients that we've been taking for the past couple of months also help with this, and also help a little bit with chelation, because they have ingredients in there like alpha lipoic acid and NAC, which boosts glutathione for detoxing. But anyway, we won't go too big, okay, too crazy. But they have ingredients that help with this, but it's on a much smaller scale. So like we're kind of bringing in the big guns now to get metals out of us, okay? And so I actually have one of the causes of mercury issues is fillings in your teeth, and I have either 4 or 5. I can't really tell. Like my one could be 2 separate ones or just one big one. I can't really tell. I have like 4 or 5 of these amalgams still in my teeth. So I feel actually kind of terrible, because I feel like that may be an issue for me. But not only that, I feel like maybe they've been leaching all along and could be the issues, or could be a cause of my issues for my boys, because they are passed through to, when you're pregnant, they're passed through to the fetus, and also heavy metals are passed through your breast milk. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like all of my boys were breastfed for like 1.5 years, 2 years, and here I am like poisoning them, right? So yeah, there's that, and so I wanted to just share that this has been my life for the past couple of months. You know, what I thought the world was all about and how health worked and all of that stuff. Like, I thought you go to the doctor, they resolve your disease, or they treat your disease, and that's the only choice you have. Oh, and I didn't even talk, by the way, about homeopathy, which that's another whole thing, but that's also kind of like a side obsession for me right now, learning a little bit about that. I will tell you that there was one remedy that I picked up that I have. Hey babe, I have TMJ. I get like occipital pain, and that turns into headaches for me some days. Collagen has helped a lot with that, by the way. But like, I get that pain, and it usually turns into a migraine for me. And I felt it coming on yesterday. I took one of these homeopathic remedies and it was gone. So I'm like, okay, I believe it's good. So anyway, that's another whole story. But my whole way of life has been turned upside down in the past year, in so many ways. And, you know, the knowledge, it's like things you can't unlearn once you know them. And I honestly, truly, and here's where the crazy part kicks in, I honestly, truly do not believe that the medical community, and not maybe intentionally, okay, but they do not have our best interests at heart. They do not. And the powers that be and train them in what they're taught do not have our best interests at mind. And so we need to be on top of this stuff. We need to learn. Knowledge is power. The more you know, the better you do, right? Yes, homeopathy is where it's at. I'm actually obsessed enough now that I really want to take a class on it, or several, and kind of go down that path. It's just like it's become so interesting to me, and I feel like it could be, you know, really changing. They really are years behind. And by the way, talking about years behind, I'm actually reading the book Medical Medium right now. My friend Jill, who may still be on here, actually recommended it to me, and it's so good, so good. But you know, he's talking 30 years behind. Okay, so you're reading that too? Oh my God, like, you need to stop sharing my brain. All right. So anyway, I guess the whole point of my live today was kind of to tell you to be prepared, to fall into rabbit holes with me if you continue to choose to follow me. If you don't want to fall into those rabbit holes, don't watch my lives, okay? Because I'm probably going to scare you and freak you out, but it's like, my whole world is completely different than I thought it was, and I think I just want to share that with everyone else. I want to make your lives as crazy as mine. No, I'm just kidding. I actually feel better and more empowered and less at the mercy of the medical doctors and medications and drugs and pharmaceuticals. I feel so liberated from all of that, to be honest, and empowered, and feel like I have more control over my health and the health of my family. So I think, yes, I do agree that people should at least listen. You can make your own judgments. You can say, hey, you know what, this is just way crazy and I don't believe it, then that's fine. But I think if you believe half of what you read and half of what you hear, nothing will ever surprise you. But anyway, I do plan to do a series of lives and posts about this kind of stuff, about these topics. I also plan to share a journal of how we all do on this heavy metal detox. So stay tuned. And of course, if you found any value in this, please let me know. If you you can feel free to share this with friends or tag them in here if you want them to see it, if you think that they might be able to relate to any of this. I always appreciate new followers and things like that. So if you found this interesting, if you found value, let me know. Feel free to share, etc., etc. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say today. But thanks so much for watching me. I need to go cook some Mexican burgers for my kids. Hope they eat. Fingers crossed. I am very much looking forward to them, but my children are picky as hell. So anyway, thanks again for joining me. Take care, everyone. Have a great Monday. Bye.